Hello and welcome to League of Loggers. This is season 4, episode possibly 16. Tonight our co-hosts are, we got Curtis James on the far side. Myself, I am Viking Redbeard. If you notice, we've got a new stream layout. It is still a little bit wonky because we were supposed to have had it for last split, and then by the time we got it, it was just way too late in the split to
Well, and they
swap.
also didn't announce the change to the schedule until, 2 weeks ago or something?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying, that's why we have this particular layout, because Monday was a thing back then.
Yeah.
And now it's not. But we didn't even get to use this during a Monday, so... That being said, we are discussing the pre-season summer split.
The mid-season split. Mid-season break?
Yes.
Into the summer split?
Yes.
They need to come up with a name for it. That's what they need to do.
Well, I called it the pre-split.
Yeah, because usually it's like the MSI break, but there's no MSI, so it's the All-Star break. This is baseball now.
Yeah. All right, so, weirdly enough, a lot of things happened over, between the splits. A lot more than I was actually expecting. And mostly that's in terms of the roster swaps. There was a lot of drama involving certain people.
Yeah. Shall we start at the beginning? Because the first drama happened with Double Lift.
I think that's the biggest drama that happened.
It is also the biggest, I'd say. Where Double Lift was... we talked about at the end of the season if we thought he would get moved because he was kind of being an unhappy curmudgeon, talking shit about his coaches and his teammates. And... we said, the problem is moving him. Everywhere he's left a team and then gone somewhere else, he's always succeeded anyway. He succeeds at the new team. So it's do you want to give your competition Double Lift? Also, are you going to be a dick and give him to somebody like CLG? Or are you going to give him to an opponent? And it ended up going to an opponent. He's now on TSM.
Yeah, well, so I actually didn't think he was going to go anywhere other than TSM, possibly Cloud9 if they were dumb enough to drop
Cloud9 wouldn't.
No, I know. I'm just saying, the only places that he would have gone would have been where he landed at TSM or, one of the other top 3 teams. He made it very clear.
EG and FlyQuest, and I don't know if you'd want to go to either. Maybe EG, but I don't think you'd go to FlyQuest.
Yeah, he made comments during the stream that he didn't want to go to no shitter teams, which seems a little rude.
That's about as Double Lift of a way to put it, though.
Yeah, but as Alan said, they wouldn't want to give up Bang, which I agree. Bang finally did start to come into his own. Yep. Now they have Hooney, a little bit more synergy there, but all of the drama revolving around Double Lift, he's dating the president of the company.
Yeah.
He was dating her while he was on Team Liquid.
Which, that seems fine.
It's fine until you hear that he was streaming and overhearing.
We haven't even gotten to that one yet. That's a whole nother player.
Oh, yeah. Well, talking about other teammates, while he's on stream and it gets picked up on stream. It's just...
because a lot of people were saying, well, isn't it an issue that he lives with Lena, the president of TSM, and so therefore, if she's talking about team stuff involving other players, or even when he was still on Liquid, was she talking about TSM stuff? Because he shouldn't be hearing that, whatever. And they all say, oh, no, that's not an issue. It's not a thing that happens. And then, something that resulted in Dardoch switching teams is, on Double Lift stream, like you said, we heard Lena doing exactly that.
Yeah. It just, in my opinion, this whole thing was wildly unprofessional. It definitely seems like Double Lift shit the bed last split so he could position himself to move over to TSM. I think that the odds of it actually happening are so low that it didn't really matter. He was just going to have a terrible split. But, he drew the perfect hand in poker, and he got everything he wanted.
Yeah, I feel like the split started poorly for him. A lot of shit went wrong, and then because I don't think he, played poorly on purpose, but I think once things were already going poorly, he probably got into a mental space and discussions with Lena where it's I wish I was just back with Bjergsen and TSM and blah. And then at that point, he, because Double Lift obviously has, concentration issues. Like, he gets put off his game fairly easy at times. And that's why he's moved from team to team, is because he can be such a pain in the ass. And so, yeah, I think that's what happens. Like, his mental became, I want to be at TSM, I don't want to be here, and then he just wouldn't cooperate with anyone. And at that point, like, yeah, the team's just going to keep shitting the bed. And so, yeah, he didn't necessarily do it on purpose, but it ends up leading to the same place. And like you said, the whole thing just so unprofessional. And I saw it. It was someone who has worked in the industry. Like, they worked as, I don't know if it was sports psychologist for one of the teams, or in some capacity for a short term. And it's someone who's from the outside business world, and they're closer to our age than, like, Reggie and Lee. Like, Reggie owns the team, and he's something like 28, I think, or some shit. Like, there's a lot of these guys are that age. Steve is close to our age, but you also see him act more professional, too. But this guy made a comment of, like, with Lena and this shit, it's like, this is the problem. It's a bunch of fucking kids who don't know what they're doing because they never worked in any other business. Like, granted, knowing your own business and being there from the beginning is very important, but they don't have any outside, insight to realize, maybe you should run a company like a fucking company. And not like it's your clubhouse where you guys just happen to make millions of dollars.
Well, and I think that's actually, like, pretty spot on there. I think that they all kind of live in their own little bubble, and they don't really take into account anything else that's happening outside of, like, their little bubble.
Yeah.
And so you're right. They are acting more like children than a typical adult running a multi-million-dollar company. Mm-hmm. Am I a little jealous? A little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's so crazy to see how this all unfolded. I heard a lot of people saying that they thought that the trade was going to get blocked. They thought that, like, it was all wildly unprofessional, and I was like, it is wildly unprofessional. It's not going to get blocked.
Yeah, and I was right there with you on that. I didn't think there was any way it would end up being blocked, but there's all sorts of shenanigans that I think in the future there are going to be some more rules and guidelines. More so about how the teams operate than anything else. Because, everything else could still happen, but it has to be a thing where all team communication cannot happen near players who are not a part of that communication. Things like that, because it's just ridiculous. Quick follow-up of the thing of, like, they don't treat it like a business, it's like their little club, is the fact that immediately following, like, the quick apologies or it was a Twitlonger, which I get, like, you're speaking to your audience, and your audience is going to look at Twitlonger, cool, go for that. But, like, she threw one of their sponsors, Lenovo, under the bus, basically, saying that, like,
you make too good of equipment.
Yeah,
why is it picking me up?
Right, it was like, oh, he got a new laptop and we haven't adjusted the settings, I guess, or something. It's like, this never happened with his Alienware. It's like, you dumbass. It's like, a PR person should have been the one who put out a statement that said, what happened is not okay, it's not our standards at TSM, we are reviewing the incident, blah, blah, blah. Just straight up corporate speak, put it out there, but it at least is like the ruler on the hand, like, no, badly not. Instead, it was her going, computer fault, this never happened. It's like, you realize the problem is not that it got picked up, it's that you just admitted you do this all the fucking time when you had totally told everybody you guys never fucking do this, you moron.
Yeah.
Like, that's what PR people are for. Fucking hire them.
And they have to have PR people, but I'm sure they're
I bet they
18
have
to
marketing
22.
people.
Yeah. They're just more young people that don't understand real life and just things of that nature. It's
just hire one of us 33-year-old curmudgeons. We'll take care of it for you, I promise.
I know I can't do much. I can't do a whole lot of, like, good things in the streaming space in terms of, like, League, or, like, I don't know that I would do anything professionally very well at all, but I could tell you that the way you handled this was terrible.
I think I could PR well.
I definitely think you could more so than me, but I think anyone, I'm probably a better PR person than anyone that they've got in their company now, which isn't saying much because I don't know if they've got probably nothing.
But yeah, let's talk about the other player that was involved in that whole thing. So we've got, like we said, Double Lift going from Liquid to TSM. I also agree, Alan saying, I know you mentioned that, like, I don't think EG would want to move on from Bang because he looked so good this past split. I think we kind of said that I don't think any decent team wants to leave their AD carry behind right now. Like, they all have good bot laners. Like,
especially with, like,
even
the rockiness.
FlyQuest, like, Wild Turtle was probably the worst of the good team's bot laners, but him and Ignar look good.
Yeah, especially with, like, how rocky a few of the AD carries were this split.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't really want to, like, mess up the synergy they may already have. And maybe make them even worse than they were before.
These teams that you didn't expect to be good and you're just like, play cool, guys, play cool.
Yeah, I mean, just let Double Lift look bad for everyone. It's okay. Just quietly do well.
Yeah, so the player Lena was discussing, though, at the time was Dardoch. She was saying that it wasn't her fault that no one wants Dardoch, which, implied that either Dardoch wanted to move, which I think had already been out there, and that TSM was trying to move him, and at the time couldn't, but he did find a landing spot. Dardoch is now with Dignitas, and might as well say Dignitas making the most moves of anybody. They no longer have Huni. They brought in Viper from FlyQuest, who had been replaced by Solo during the playoffs. So Viper, Dardoch, they did drop Grig. They still have Acadian on the bench. Froggen, Johnson, Afromu, but they also picked up JJ, and I don't think if they've said who's going to start there. I hope it's JJ.
When they put out their roster announcement, it was literally just all 10 players that they had.
Right.
And so they're either going to have some sort of internal like playoff to see who deserves it better, or they're going to play both of them a little bit and see who performs better on stage.
I think it's most likely Johnson and Afro in the bot lane.
Which makes me so sad because I hate Afromu so much. He is a wash-up has-been.
I can't say JJ's not even he's not a has-been. He was a never was.
But the difference being is that he still has the potential to get up there. JJ is still young. Afromu is old. Out with the old and with the new.
I would prefer to see it as like a veteran mentor kind of thing going on. That's what I would like to see here. I don't know if that is what we will see here.
Oh, Afromu is totally playing 100%, which is sad and depressing.
Yeah, but I think Viper rather than Huni. I don't think obviously you have the same explosiveness, and Viper did have a bad split, but I think it helps you not have to constantly be around top lane to see, make sure it doesn't implode. Having Acadian and Dardoch on the same team, they've been on the same team before. I think they get along well, so that should be good to just improve the jungle in general. You still have the focus on Froggen now, and you can put more focus into your last split rookie, Johnson. And I think that's where this team should be focusing. They should be they should do what Cloud9 has done over and over to make rookies successful. Put a ton of focus on them, play around their strengths. And put focus onto Johnson, play around his strengths and Afros or JJ's if you need to. And then also play around...
Afro has strengths. All I do is see him die and do terrible things and be out of place and...
Yeah. I mean, I think if you play around their strengths, and then also with Froggen, like Froggen's a really good late game carry. He's really good at farming. If he doesn't have to roam to make up for Huni, dying in lane anymore, great. Like, if Viper is able to play more safely, which granted wasn't really his thing to start with. Oh. he like moved it like here. I thought you were being secretive. Yeah, I think if he can not need to be the carry, if he can play safer, then this team overall, even though you dropped Huni, it feels like an upgrade to get Viper and Dardoch rather than Huni and Grigor Arcadian.
And I bet they still came out with a net gain of money.
Oh, absolute. Well, I mean, yeah, they're paying less now than they would have to Huni, but I'm sure there was also a chunk that they ate in the process.
I mean, I thought that we discussed the contract a little bit last.
And so it sounded like it ended up sounding like it was partially guaranteed. So that he probably had one of the 2 years guaranteed, because Dig said it wasn't guaranteed. The original report from Huni's agent was that it was guaranteed. So chances are it was 1 year guaranteed. And the thought was, well, who's going to cut him after 6 months or whatever? Like, And they're like, no, yeah, fuck that. He was not good, and we don't want to pay for the next year. We're going to cut him now and try and build our team now. Which, credit to that. I wish more teams would.
Was it
not...
$2.5 million a year?
No, it was 1.2 per year, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
I'd still take $600K.
It was at least $2 million over 2 years.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a lot of money. So, so I think Dig has... If they haven't improved their team for right now, and I don't know that they'll climb in the standings, they finished 7th last split. I do think they've improved their prospects, partly by getting all that money off of the ledgers, like opening up space, allowing yourself to reset, and work elsewhere with the money. I hope JJ comes in and can do well, or Afromu does well somehow. I want to see Johnson and Dardoch, work well on this team. Froggen, I think he's towards the end of his career anyway, so I'm not really worried about that, and he might continue to hold them back for a little bit. And actually, let's talk about who was behind Froggen and just got announced on a new team. Yeah, DeMonte with Golden Guardians now. How do you feel about that, Chase?
Tanner time.
It's Tanner time.
No, I think that this is not that I thought Golden Glue was bad, but I think DeMonte is definitely an upgrade. Mm-hmm. However, Dignitas getting rid of DeMonte and keeping Froggen is just absurd to me. Every single time I've seen DeMonte play, he has been leaps and bounds better than Froggen. Even this last split, I think that DeMonte riding the bench was still probably better than Froggen. Why they're eating an
import slot and playing somebody that's not as good as who's riding the bench behind them is just, it doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, I mean, you and I have been behind DeMonte the whole time. Like, it goes back to when Dignitas was clutch and they went to Worlds at the end of last season. It was Huni, Lyra, who we agreed needed to be upgraded.
Yep.
DeMonte, Cody-san, and Vulcan. And they lost all of that except for Huni. And now they don't even have Huni. Like, that whole team that went to Worlds is not Dignitas anymore. It's gone. They had a core of a team they easily could have done something with, but they decided they need to pay Huni the big bucks, so they sell off Vulcan so that they could keep Huni. And then they decided that Froggen was a better choice
Vulcan
than DeMonte.
Is just, like, praying, or, thinking his sweet stars every single day. He's like, thank you, Dignitas. You gave me a NA split win.
Like, he literally, he said it in an interview, and DeMonte said it too. They thought, after Worlds, they're, confident. They're like, okay, we're going to be, the core of Dignitas heading forward. Right? We're going to be on Dig next season. And to be fair, Vulcan was, strictly told, we are not getting rid of you, which they weren't forever and ever until Jack offered a lot of money. But, all of it, and that's gone. And, Vulcan's well, I just had I was on the team that now has the best record in LCS history. Including playoffs or whatever. It's just they just dominated. He got first team all, LCS or all pro. And it's all that. And he just crushed it. And DeMonte, unfortunately, wasn't let go from the team. They just put him on the bench. I think had they I can't believe other teams didn't pick him up either. I think CLG regretted it when halfway through the season they grabbed Pobelter. I'm guessing they couldn't afford to get DeMonte off Dig at that point because they were probably haggling on it or some shit.
Maybe.
But, yeah, anyway, he is on Golden Guardians now. I do feel bad for Golden Glue. Oh.
Yeah. Did he announce retirement? Is he riding the bench? Is he still playing Academy? I didn't actually look.
I don't know what his current status is. I know he's not with Golden Guardians. They did drop him, I'm fairly certain.
Okay. So he's just a free agent now?
Yeah, I think so. I'd have to double check that. But I do feel bad. Because I thought he looked fine last split. I think the team as a whole was... Closer's great. He's going to be really good. And I think him and DeMonte are going to be great. I still think, and I thought this last split... Hanser and then FBI with someone who's not actually a support is the issue. Mid wasn't their issue.
Yeah, no, agreed. 100%. Golden Glue was not the problem there. It was a combination of Keith. I think it was just mostly Keith. I know Hansart's been kind of a little off lately.
I don't even think... Because Keith was getting better. Like, they started him and he had no experience. He was getting better, and then they swapped him out for Huhi once they got to the point where it's like, hey, we might make playoffs. Let's put in the guy who didn't get us to this point. And they did. They did make playoffs, barely. Yeah. I don't think FBI is very good. I don't think he's worth having a fucking random-ass import slot
Well,
for.
I mean, he came from Oceania. Mm-hmm. He was good there, but that doesn't mean diddly anywhere else. I don't know why they're eating up an import slot there when they could, if they're willing to spend the money, they could go anywhere and pick somebody better.
There's probably a 80 carry in NA solo queue that's worth trying, damn it. There's probably one on fucking Cloud9's bench.
I know who it is. We're going to pull Tyler 1 in.
No, he's a jungler now, bro.
He hit Challenger as jungler. That just happened like this last week or the week before.
Oh, that he finally hit Challenger, actually?
Yeah.
Okay. I hate that man.
He's got so much ridiculous personality. He's just oozing it from his... what's the word? Homunculus head.
His homunculic glands.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I honestly don't know how I feel about Golden Guardians this split. I think DeMonte was a great pickup. And considering we're locked into it at this point, I don't know. I don't see...
I think it was an improvement for them, but I still don't think it's going to help move them up.
Yeah, I think they're going to continue to play around that 5, 6, 7, 8 slot.
I've got to hope for them Closer and DeMonte can like show something so they can start enticing other players to come to them, or they can focus on finding other players.
I mean, considering that they've got the Golden State Warriors money sitting behind them,
right?
That they could go and pull somebody a little bit better.
You'd hope so.
I mean, didn't they get FBI based on Papa Smithy's recommendation?
Papa Smithy was 100 Thieves.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
I think like Papa Smithy did think he was a good player, like because he's from Oceania, so he talks about Oceania players quite a bit.
Okay,
but no, they grabbed him after MSI last year because he started I think for just the last few weeks of last season for Golden Guardians. But
gotcha.
I don't know. Let's move on from Golden Guardians. So
I think we should go to Evil Geniuses so we can...
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Okay.
So Evil Geniuses is where Huni did end up going. He, for all intents and purposes, should not be starting because they have Jizuke and they have Bang, and I don't think you bench either of them in order to play Huni over Kumo. Now, I'm not saying that Kumo's better than Huni. I think the idea here is you bring in Huni to help teach Kumo and make him better, like, veteran as a mentor thing, as I mentioned earlier. Hopefully Afromu does for JJ. But also, because it's been kind of well documented, especially at the beginning of the split, when Bang, in some interviews, things were kind of misunderstood about what he said. I mean, English is his very, very much second language. That basically Bang's been really lonely since he got to the U.S., when he was on 100 Thieves, he wanted to go home, and he ended up staying.
I mean, to be fair, that team was garbage, and everyone there was garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Afro was there.
Yeah, it was totally Afro's fault. But yeah, he wanted to go home. He didn't, have any friends, and I think bringing Huni onto this team, I mean, they're former teammates. They were on SKT1. Or SKTT1, but, they were friggin', on world championship contending teams together. And so they have a lot of history outside of just being, fellow countrymen. They are old friends. So I think being able to live in the house together and, do all that stuff, I think that's going to help Bang out a lot.
And he's going to drive him around in his Echo Fox
yeah, and his
Range
Hummer.
Rover.
Oh, it was a Range Rover, yeah. I honestly, I hope just kind of we see a little more pep and Bang step in regards to that. As for what Alan asked way earlier, do we think Eevee's going to play Huni? No, I think it's just for that.
This is if he plays this split, this is the last split he needs to get residency. And then
I do think they would like to get him some games so he becomes a resident. That's
is it half the split that he has to play, or is it a sub?
There was talk that it's like 3 games or something, or 3 weeks or something.
Is that does that include Academy games, or does it?
It would be LCS.
It would have to be LCS.
Yes,
okay.
Academy does not give residency.
I imagine we see Huni just enough to give him enough games to get his residency, because then he's no longer eating up that import slot. He could potentially take over if he is doing well.
Yeah, and that could have been part of the agreement, too, is that Huni was like, I'll sign with you for, like, way less if you get me my residency.
Yeah. I still think Huni has it, and I think Huni's only as good as the people around him. Like, he's one of those players that if, like, you're playing with, like, the best in the world, he's going to play really well. Yeah. If you're giving him dumpster babies from crack houses... I don't even know where I'm going with this.
Oh, my God!
He's going to play like a dumpster baby?
From a crack house.
From a crack house. I'm okay with this.
Oh, shit.
I stand by it.
I need a t-shirt that has your face. This is dumpster babies from crack houses. I stand by it.
I mean, clearly, if the dumpster babies from the crack house can get on and play League, I think that's probably a bigger concern.
No, I think having dumpster babies is the biggest concern.
Oh, okay.
To begin with.
Fair.
Oh, man. Trying to get this one back on the rails. I think... I really wonder if Huni... obviously, he has a very good knowledge of the game. You have to have succeeded at this level. And he has in multiple regions, too. So, like, okay, he's got something. And I wonder, though, if he has the ability to, like, impart that knowledge on other players. Because if so, it totally feels like his, path forward, his career choice should be to be a coach. Because, I mean, if I'm a top laner who's trying to become, a better pro, and you're like, hey, we're going to bring in a guy who went to Worlds from 3 different regions. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to tell this guy, oh, I'm fucking better than you, whatever, you're washed up. I'm going to be like, no, you've got something. Because you don't make it on 3 different regions on teams of arguably different, like, calibers as well. Because that clutch team does not make it if his Rumble does not, like, hard carry a couple games in Gauntlet. That, like, he's got something to offer, and I hope that's the way they're leaning with him. Like, maybe they're, going to try and give him residency, or maybe it's we're going to bring you on, you're going to try and mentor Kumo. If that goes well, we'll hire you as a assistant coach. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know.
I could dig it.
I would like that to be the route forward for Huni, but I also don't know if his ego allows for that. Like, he doesn't have an ego in the same way Double Lift does, but he obviously has an ego.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an ego on a losing team, which he's basically kicking you in the knee.
Well, he's back on a winning team now. EG was fucking number 3, bro. Finished the split 2, finished playoffs 3.
Yeah, but we still have to account how poorly Team Liquid performed.
It was real bad.
Like, even though they just lost Double Lift,
the team Huni just got off did better than Team Liquid did last split.
That's true. Yeah. I don't know. I imagine we're gonna see Team Liquid back in a little bit more of a better fashion.
So I think the 2 big question mark teams about how they're gonna do are TSM. So let's talk about them for a moment, and then TL we'll jump to. So TSM jettisoned Dardoch and are starting Spica, who we've seen Spica. He played in last split's not this previous split, but last summer split's playoffs and Gauntlet out of nowhere as they benched Acadian and Dardoch and said, oh yeah, we're not even bringing a backup jungler. And the kid got dumpstered.
Yeah.
Like, he's looked very good in Academy, both before that and since that. So they brought in Spica into the jungle, and they jettisoned Kabe as they brought in Double Lift. Also, it was a fucking bit of bullshit that they did this to Kabe to begin with, but they did get him back to EU onto a team that he can, like, man into, like, they made playoffs, and so he can make them better. So I think they did right by Kabe as much as they could after being pieces of shit to him.
Yeah,
Which is the TSM way, don't you know?
Well, I mean, we've got other teams,
100 Thieves,
that I can point fingers at for doing really terrible things to other players.
Echo Fox, which is no longer around, 100 Thieves, which no longer is run the way it was, and TSM.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they handed Dardoch his balls back when he left TSM. And
worked for Senskaren.
Yeah, no doubt.
Dude, I would love to see Dardoch pop the fuck off as an aggressive jungler this split.
And it's funny because they kind of let him do his thing a little bit, but they kind of like, whoa, you're going to do your thing a little bit, not all of it.
It would be really funny if Dardoch and Viper just dumpstered Spica and Broken Blade when they face off.
I'd love to see
That'd
it.
be fantastic. Because, like, Broken Blade was, like, the other carry top in the league this year, and, like, that's why they wanted, Dardoch. But, like you said, they were like, oh, you can do a little bit. Like, if Viper didn't do well at all, and so, like, maybe he just needed, like, a change of scenery and a different jungler, and, it works again.
Yeah, hopefully that's what happens. I mean, I'm going to feel bad for Bjergsen if TSM does really poorly this split. Because I think Bjergsen is towards the end of his career. He's about ready to move into management at TSM. And it would be really sad for, like, his last potential. Like, I'm not saying that this is going to be his last
He's got
split.
another year for sure.
Yeah, but you don't want these to follow you around right before you're about ready to retire.
Yeah.
So
as the, like, hugely successful player that Bjergsen has been, you don't want to end your season or your career with a streak of didn't make worlds. Like, that'd be a bit rough.
Alan said he'd love to see TSM get last place this split.
Oh, wow. I don't think that's possible. I understand the sentiment based on, like, what they've done, but I think they have too many good... Then again, I thought Liquid had too many good players to not end up, like, below 4th and got 9th, so who knows? Well, let's jump to Liquid as the last one. Obviously they lost Doublelift. So they've said they're sticking with Tactical, and they're going to play him.
I think that's a smart choice.
They brought in, obviously another AD carry for Academy, but they did say that their goal is just to play Tactical, and that other person to stay in Academy. I can't remember who it was they picked up.
I didn't see.
But the big move that TL made was they brought in Jat from Riot, Joshua Jat Leesman, as their head coach. What do you think of that, Chase?
I think it's interesting. I think if there weren't some of the other weirdness, I think that any other split that this would be a cool move. But, like, coming off the tail end of Doublelift just screwing them for an entire split, like, I'm hoping Jack can come in and kind of, like, whip everyone into shape. Like, it didn't seem like Kane it didn't seem like he had control of his team last split.
Yeah.
It was like, you're going to do this, you're going to do it poorly, but you're going to do it.
I mean, and how much, though, of not having control is Doublelift being a uncontrollable pain in the ass at times?
I imagine that Tactical is going to be a lot more docile. He's going to be a lot more
he's basically a rookie.
Yeah, he's going to be a lot more willing to take any sort of guidance that you give him. Whereas Doublelift is going to be like, well, I know this game better than you.
Yeah, I mean, Tactical has a 2-1 LCS record.
Yeah.
He played well. I mean, you've got... The team is fucking stacked. Like, yeah, Impact's towards the end of his career. Great. Core JJ possibly as well, but he's still playing great. Impact's still playing pretty damn good. You've got Broxa, who got in late last split, but still showed some good shit. And Jensen, who was busting his balls for nothing because Doublelift apparently didn't give a shit all split.
Yeah.
Like, those players still care. Tactical's fresh blood. Of course he wants to fucking prove himself. And, I mean, from all the content that Jet has done with Riot, whether it be, the actual broadcast where he's talking about things, or his teamfight breakdowns and all sorts, his work on the dive, all of that stuff, he's always seemed like the most statistically driven person, so he's actually following data rather than just, like, his gut feeling on things. and he cares about breaking down the why behind things. He's not just like, well, Huni has a winning record, so he's great. He's like, well, why does he have a winning record? Well, he had 80% wins on Rumble and below 50 on everything else. You know, like, he's the kind of guy who does those sort of breakdowns. He's the same kind of person who wouldn't allow TSM to put their fucking junglers on Sejuani all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think for Team Liquid, it's going to be a good thing. I think getting rid of Double Lift is going to end up overall being good just based on last split, not obviously the overarching history of Double Lift on Team Liquid, but just last split, it's like, okay, get rid of that. And also I think that would have hindered Jat. Like, if Jat was coming in, maybe that was part of the discussion, is I need every player to be on board too. And like, Double Lift would have been like, well, if he's not right, I'm not going to agree with him. I think every other play on this roster, Impact, Core JJ, Broxa, Jensen, and Tactical, because Tactical's a newbie, are all like, cool, yes, we are going to look to you to give us good information. We want to give our insight to you, and then we'll come to something.
Yeah, and we always hope that Jet left some backdoors in the code to allow Team Liquid to get some cheat codes to win.
Some cheat codes to win, yeah. Yeah, he's going to get that read. Well, see, that's why he's on the balance team for a while. He actually put in some buffs nobody knows about, and TL's going to exploit now.
I like it.
That's the tinfoil hat theory for when they dominate.
No, I think that Jad is a great choice.
Yeah. I am really sad. I agree with Alan that he's not going to be on the desk anymore. Jat was the best color commentator they had. The other best color commentator, I think, would probably be Kobe. If he's talking about from the analyst desk, then, I mean, you've got Dash, who leads everything, or Mark Z, who's the other long-term analyst on the desk. Captain Flowers is the best play-by-play. Guy's amazing. Captain Flowers. Love Flowers. But I think they'll do well. So I guess this gets us to the point where we should put out some rankings, though.
Ooh.
Last split, they ended in this order. Cloud9, EG, 100 Thieves, FlyQuest, TSM, Golden Guardians, Dignitas, Immortals, Team Liquid, CLG. After playoffs, of course, it was Cloud9, FlyQuest, EG, 100, TSM and 100 Thieves technically tied, and then, TSM and then 100 Thieves and Golden Guardians technically tied. The other ones, obviously the same. So, what do you think, Chase? I think number one, considering the team made no changes, we're probably both happy putting Cloud9 right there.
Yep.
Even though, that was the same reason Team Liquid was making a change, never mind, but yeah, so Cloud9 number one overall. No real argument there. Number two, it gets really hard already because it's Team Liquid way underperformed at 9. TSM was at 5, but they added Double Lift. Evil Geniuses ended the split at 2 and 3 in the playoffs, and they haven't really made a change besides just bringing Huni, who we don't expect to really play. FlyQuest switched over to solo and ended the playoff second after being 4th in the split. And 100 Thieves didn't make any changes, and they were 3rd and then tied for 5th, 6th. I tentatively want to say Evil Geniuses, the players that they have, Kumo's going to improve. Svenskar and Jizuke, Bang, and Zazel are all good proven players already. I think Zazel has room to improve for sure. But I think this team's going to mesh a little bit better even here in the second split, and I want to put them at number 2 personally.
That's where I was going as well.
Oh, I thought I was going to be alone on that one. I thought you would go with TSM or TL.
No, I've got TSM in my number 3 spot, and I've got TL in my number 4 spot.
See, I was going to go TL in 3. I'm with you there. And I think FlyQuest is not going to be good enough to hold on to 4. I think 100 Thieves are going to keep improving, though. Ryoma was looking so much better at the end of the split, so I want to move them into 4, and I'm going to leave TSM at... Actually, you know what? No, TSM's not 5. I was going to put them 5, and I've decided against it. FlyQuest is getting my 5, because they have Solo, and I think Solo was an improvement over Viper. TSM, Spica is just going to be such a He's gonna get rocked in jungle.
You've made good points here. FlyQuest, I'm gonna move to 3. I'm gonna move TSM to 5.
Yeah, like, I mean, maybe Spica will improve a bunch, but otherwise, if I look at the other teams I'm ranking, I've got Meteos, Svenskeren, Broxa, Blabber, Santorin, and I think all those junglers can have their way with Spica. And that means Broken Blade doesn't get ahead, and Bjergsen don't get ahead unless they do it themselves. And I think most of those teams also have a really good jungle, top, and mid all together, because, like, if we go, everybody knows Cloud9, Licorice, Blabber, Niski. Great. Then you go ahead, even FlyQuest, Solo, Santorin, Power of Evil. Hell yeah, because Power of Evil was great last split. Santorin looked pretty good. Solo looked better than Viper. Cool. Impact Broxa Jensen looks really good. Meteos, Ryoma, and Someday, like, not crazy good, but still pretty good, I'd say. And then Kumo, Svenskeren, and Jizuka is probably the weakest, but that's just because of Kumo, and I think he'll keep improving. So yeah, then you give me Broken Blade Bjergsen. Yeah, that's really good Bjergsen, and Broken Blade who's looked really good at times, and then Spica, and I'm like, well, what the fuck do I care anymore?
Yeah, it feels really bad ranking some of these people where I did, because I feel like they could all individually do really well this split, but then there's only 10 teams, and then they have to go somewhere. I'm
having a really hard time ranking a lot of these teams. So I've got my top 6, Cloud9 together, right? I've got EG2.
Yep.
Oh, and you agreed. You had TSM 3? Or no, you moved it.
I moved it to FlyQuest for 3, then Team Liquid for 4, and then TSM for 5.
Okay, and I went Liquid 3, 100 Thieves 4, FlyQuest 5, TSM 6. So who's your 6?
I put Dig at 6.
Dig at 6. Okay. You got that faith in Dardoch and Viper being able to put forward some pressure?
Yeah, I mean, if they actually play JJ instead of Moo, I think they could be like a number 2 team, but...
Yeah. I think, personally, I've got Golden Guardians at my 7 spot, because I think Closer and Damonte are scarier. But their bot lane is so bad. I think this is the one that's hardest for me. I've got Dignitas and Golden Guardians right there, 6-7. And just because Guardians did better and they have less like new meshing to do, it's just like, okay, get Damonte meshed with the rest of the team, and he's played with Closer before, like not in a pro sense, but like they've done duos a bunch prior to this. Like they duoed at World some and another time.
I don't even like the list I just made.
My list sucks. I don't think there's any good list here. So I'm gonna put Golden Guardians 7, and I'm gonna put Dignitas 8, which is the playoff cutoff this split, by the way. 8.
Only
two teams don't make it because all 3 Worlds teams are getting decided by these playoffs.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've got Golden Guardians and Dig, and then I think Immortals and CLG. They're both so bad still. CLG's better than they were because they grabbed Pobelter and they brought in Wind from Korea.
I'm going to make a change here.
I'm going to put CLG at 9 and Immortals at 10 because I don't think Ika's going to improve really. And so if Ika's not going to improve, Soaz is going to improve. Xmithy can't carry that team on his back, and Haku, Hopeless, Altec, or Apollo isn't going to get it done if they keep switching shit. I think Pobelter, and if Wiggly has a good split, those two can do enough to cover for Stixay, so he or Wind, whoever can get something done with Smoothie, and just Ruin needs to not ruin their chances. So I've got CLG at 9, 10 Immortals.
Okay, so my list, top to bottom, Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, FlyQuest, Team Liquid, TSM, Dig, 100 Thieves, Golden Guardians, Immortals, CLG.
Yeah. I mean, we have very close ones.
Yeah.
Like, people are in kind of brackets, and they're shifted slightly. Alan has Cloud9, EGTL, and then TSM. I pray hard for them to get lower. You know, you say that, but that was exactly like what I said about Liquid. They can't finish below 3rd or 4th. Look at their roster last split. Like, and this roster doesn't have 5 All-Stars. It has Spica and Biofrost and Broken Blades, who can be all-pro contenders, but they're not all-stars. The all-stars they have are Bjergsen and DL only. So
I mean, those are pretty good people to have as long as
So-
Double Lift actually knows how to play the game this split.
yeah, we'll see. Cool.
Have you paid any attention to his streams at all? I have not.
I've never paid attention to like any of the players' streams.
So I mean, and it really doesn't matter much because like every pro out there will dumpster the entire ladder,
Right.
and so it's hard to tell how they're gonna do coming into the split.
I fully expect Double Lift to be really, really driven this split.
He better be, otherwise he should be retiring after this split. If he dumpsters this split, he should be done.
So every time he's moved teams, it was the first split without him. The team he left won the championship. And then every split after, he won the championship on his new team. When he left CLG, they won with Stixay, and then TSM won everything with him. Then he left TSM, and they won the one split without him. Who was their AD carry that split? They brought back Wild Turtle, I think.
This is before I was.
And then he was on Team Liquid, and Liquid won the 4 splits up until this last one. So he lost one before he left, so maybe that works in his advantage and he'll win right away. I don't know. I mean, like, I think he's absolutely going to be reinvigorated. I think it'll also help reinvigorate Bjergsen a little bit. But those two busting ass doesn't make Spica a world-class player. It'll make him much better.
Yeah.
But considering right now it's all about jungle mid duos, I don't know how much it'll matter. And also, like, if Bjergsen, even him being reinvigorated, if he's not crushing people, well, that's not the jungle mid duo thing. And, like, you don't have to crush, like, head on. Because, like, Niski and Doinby, like, their thing is, hey, I go fucking everywhere and get everybody else fed. So TSM needs to try and do what Cloud9 did, where Niski was like, don't give a shit about my lane, bot lane's gonna win, or top lane's gonna win. He was mostly bot lane. And I think TSM's going to try their best to copy Cloud9, but TSM's done that over the years where they're like, oh, what's the winning team doing? Let's copy that, and they're always good at it, but not great. And, like, usually it's been them copying international teams and not being great at it, and then they still win NA, though.
They copy, neuter their players a little bit, and then, like, they're like...
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, if they're going to win, they have to let their jungler be aggressive, and that's the one thing TSM doesn't seem to know how to do, because, I mean, Blabber is the most aggressive jungler in LCS by a long shot. Like, he just shows the fuck up and says, let's fight. Constantly. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe Spica will be that for more than 4 weeks. I don't know. I'm worried about TSM because this team will either be great or a failure. And I don't mean they'll be 10th by that. I mean, they will get like 5th, and guess what? You're a failure. Because you have Bjergsen and Doublelift, and you ditched Dardoch. Tell me why I should give a shit about you as a team. Oh, great, you're the new Golden Guardians. Cool, you made playoffs. Let's all clap for you.
I like Golden Guardians.
I do like Golden Guardians, but they don't have trophies on their shelves.
Well, the Golden State Warriors do. They've got enough trophies for everyone.
They don't have 5 trophies.
No. Don't they win everything? Aren't they the most stacked team? I don't know basketball.
They have been recently, but they still don't have 5 trophies. They got like 2 or 3.
Still more than some teams.
Yeah. Anyway, you're right. Absolutely more than some teams. More than Golden Guardians got. So playoffs though, the way it's up. We'll get through that real quick. There's 8 teams get in, so only 2 are gonna miss it, which means I'm sorry, CLG and Immortals, but you had a good season. So 2 teams won't make it in, which then puts us in it's basically a double elimination overall, with I think top 2 teams getting out. Let's see, because it's 7 and 8 I think face 5 and 6, and 1 and 2 get a bye, and then the winners of that face like 3, 4 or something. I don't know. There's all sorts of shit. Yeah, you'd have to look up and see it. But 8 teams play in, and both the teams that win the champion or that are in the final get through it as 1 and 2, and third place is played for between 3 and 4 to decide that. Or because it's double elimination, I guess you know who third is. So in this last split, it would have been Cloud9 as the first team making it out, FlyQuest as second because they lost to Cloud9 in the final, and Evil Geniuses because they lost to FlyQuest in the qualifier to the final. So it works out fairly similar. It's just a bigger bracket because the idea is to get the best three teams at that exact moment in the season. And to be fair, I think we got that with just our 6, but it is technically, and that's what they're trying to avoid. It is technically possible for a team to get all their shit together at the last moment. And honestly, TL still would have missed playoffs in that format.
Yeah.
But TL, when Cloud9 knocked them out in Week 9 with that last game, I think was really important for Cloud9. I still think Cloud9 beats them in a best of 5, but I think TL ends up at least 4th. I think they could take down 100 Thieves. They could have taken down Golden Guardians. They probably could have taken down that TSM that we saw in playoffs because that wasn't great. And then EG and FlyQuest, that's where the fight would have been. So I think TL ends up being a top 4 team if playoffs, was the whole thing. But like I said, they were 9. They wouldn't have even made that. So we could see some really cool Dark Horse team who gets their shit together at the last moment and find strats.
Yeah, no, I like it because, a team that won in the spring split, we've seen them win the spring split or damn near, and then... Oh, it's you know what I'm going to say. Fucking A, I hate everyone.
No, I've bitched about that for 2 seasons with you as well. That team was good. They were second in the spring split. They were looking really good in the summer split. And at the end, they're like, you know what? Fuck all the good players on this team, and all we give a shit about is Afro Moo. Well, wait, was Huni on that team too?
Huni was never on 100 Thieves.
Okay, I can't remember. Who was their top laner?
Wait, was Huni?
Oh, I feel like, I don't know.
I think you might be right,
Because
now that I'm thinking about it.
They benched Cody-san for Rikara, which was the ridiculous part. They got rid of Meteos early, which was the first move. It was got rid of Meteos early. That was what the hell is going on? And then they benched Cody-san last minute for Rikara. Oh no, it was someday.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Alan's got it. It was someday. Alan's gonna be our stat boy.
Thanks, Alan.
If you've ever watched a part of the interruption at the end of the episode, they would go over to Tony Reali, who ended up hosting Around the Horn. But he was just like, all right, this is all the shit you got wrong. He's like, you said Huni played for 100 Thieves? That was someday. You wore your hat to the side. You look like an idiot. Fix it. No, you didn't, though. But he would always throw in shit like that, too, and it was funny. But yeah, I'm really glad for exactly the 100 Thieves reason. Last split, it didn't really come into play. I think at that time, the best 3 teams made it out. Unfortunately, the best 3 teams in NA all had a terrible read at Worlds and went shitter. But there was the worry that TSM was going to back their way into second slot. It was really close for a moment there. And then they ended up being bumped down into the gauntlet, and Clutch took it away from them. But now you don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah, because Clutch doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, that's the reason.
Oh, was there other reasons?
Yeah. Who do you think, if you just had to guess right now, not even going off who you said top 3 teams are, if you had to guess, what are the 3 teams make it to Worlds from NA?
Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid.
That's where I'm going to. Not necessarily in that order, but I think those are the 3. I think EG's got good players, and they just improved throughout the split.
Unless, week 1, they just fuck me hardcore. They're like, we're going to play Huni. Huni's going to do Huni things. And we're going to bench Bang.
No. They're not going to play him to this split. But then he's going to be like, point in his contract, there's this clause where it's you got to get me residency. And they're like, I guess we're playing him in playoffs, boys.
That's the only way I see EG floppy in this split is if they play Huni and Huni doesn't actually know how to play the game. He has to know how to play the game somewhere in there, but he's the only one that is the wild card right now. He has to play 3 weeks. Is that 6 games?
I've heard that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what the actual ruling is. I assume it'll get mentioned in the first episode of The Dive because you actually have writers who can actually pull up the rules and see. I guess any of us could, but they can ask the commissioner and he can just tell them.
Fair.
I should tweet at the commissioner. Holy shit. I'll do that. Let me write a note. Tweet commish. Hooney needs question mark res. I'm totally not gonna know what the fuck that means.
You're gonna be like, do I need a turkey sandwich?
Hummus needs residual. I'm confused.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm excited for those playoffs. I'm excited for the split, and I'm excited for our fantasy draft tomorrow night.
Yes, tomorrow, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, we will be doing our fantasy draft. I did a mock draft earlier, and I saw some players in there that
They still haven't fixed DeMonte.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought I saw one more that might have been out of place, but
Yeah. So I figured both of us would probably go through tonight and like tweet at that company to be like, hey, you should get your starter. Like, and what we'll do for anybody who is playing in the fantasy league with us, if you have like a player and they don't get it, like it's not there in time for the draft. If you draft Golden Glue, that counts as DeMonte. Like, we'll figure that shit out. However, we have to do like, man, because I mean you're commissioner, so we can give you that pick, trade, whatever later. And then also, if they still don't have it fixed by the time the actual like matches or games are, well, then
I should probably make.
We'll have to see if we can do it like manually or whatever. But we'll get it done one way or the other. Maybe we'll jump over to another friggin' league or company or whatever. But
yeah,
considering this is one that actually does money in other sports, I think they'll get it figured out because it's pretty friggin' easy to do so.
I don't think this one does money. I think that's why I picked it, because the other ones they had like a lot of. It was like a little bit heavier into the betting.
Yeah, well, I think this one isn't only bet. I think they have it.
Ah, okay.
Most of them have it. Otherwise, where are they making any money?
Fair enough.
But yeah. So anyway, excited for all that, and week 1 starts on Friday night. So. First match is going to be FlyQuest Cloud9, I assume, because that's always what they do at the beginning of every split. I just haven't looked it up
yet. They're doing some new rewards if you log into your watch.lol esports.com account.
That's right. They're doing drops now, right?
Yeah,
I didn't read about it. What are they doing with that?
It's like champ shards or skin shards, just things like that. Like
cool.
Keys, like the first one you get
that's cool, though.
is a chest and a key. So
yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with getting, random free shit for stuff you're already going to do.
Exactly. So Friday, we've got 100 Thieves versus Evil Geniuses to kick us off, and then the second match will be FlyQuest versus Cloud9.
Okay, 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses. I honestly, I'm really interested for that match, too, because those are both teams who just looked better as the split went on.
Should we do quick picks before we wrap it up here?
Sure, let's smash them out here. So you said FlyQuest, 100 Thieves EG?
Yes.
I'm going to go with EG to start.
Me too.
And then I'm going to take Cloud9 over Fly.
Obviously.
All right, so that's Friday. Saturday.
Saturday, we've got Evil Geniuses versus CLG. That seems like a second
yeah.
EG win
We'll
right
take
away.
CLG on the bottom end
then
of that.
Then we've got probably our match of the weekend with TSM versus Team Liquid.
That is the most interesting match. The best match will probably be 100 Thieves EG, I bet.
Maybe.
Because at TSM and Liquid, there's a lot of... Well, for TSM, there's a lot of like getting this team together yet, I feel like. I don't know. I'm going to take TL over TSM on that one.
Seems like the smart choice, but I'm going to go TSM just for the giggles.
Woo!
Following that is Immortals versus FlyQuest.
FlyQuest all the way, baby.
Fly. And by type, I mean right. And then the last game of Saturday is GG versus Dig.
I'm giving Golden Guardians that one just because Dig has they have a lot of new members.
I like it, and I'm also wearing their hat right now, so I get a freebie there.
Get some Tanner time in.
Tanner time.
Tanner time.
Sunday is going to be the first game, Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves.
Yep.
Cloud9 100%. And then Dignitas goes into TSM. I'm going to say TSM.
I'll give TSM their first win there.
Then Liquid versus Guardians. That seems like a TL match.
Yep.
And then to round out the weekend will be CLG versus Immortals. We got our first bubble wrapped midget wrestling match of the split on week 1. I love it.
Yeah. And then also another fun side thing, if you are doing fantasy, if you're not doing fantasy, as long as while stats and analytics give us the numbers, I will be running our stock market again.
Cool.
So we can have fun with that as well. Double it up.
Week 2?
It's every 2 weeks.
Okay.
It starts with like before week 1. You buy in before week 1.
Okay.
And then after week 2, you buy in.
Okay. Well, if we get that, then we will start that probably by Thursday.
Yeah, no later than Thursday. You would have to have your information to me before matches start Friday, which is kind of nice then because you have during the day Friday.
Yep.
So,
cool.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for us, though, here on League of Vloggers.
Time to go play Valorant. Sorry.
I might have to play League for the first time in forever.
Yes, this does wrap up episode 16 of season 4.
Season 4, episode probably 16.
Probably 16.
All right, thanks for joining us. Until next time, cheers.